And as we come on the air tonight, we are tracking the threat for the possibility of strong storms moving through central Georgia later tonight.
Potentially damaging winds, heavy rain, and lightning could all be in play. Let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Ben Jones. Ben.
Yeah, guys, we've been talking about this all week, and it is upon us tonight. Evening is what we have on the board here. I mean, it could be we know overnight tonight and for the first half of tomorrow is in the window of opportunity. The question is, when does it move in from Alabama? Some model runs show late tonight, around 11 o'clock midnight, some 8, 9 o'clock tonight. I'm going to show you more on that in a minute. 83 after a day that put us in the upper 80s today. We have some humidity out there. It's definitely not super swampy like July or August, but you can tell that there is some water in the atmosphere, which happens to be necessary in order to make rain. So, later tonight, overnight, first half of tomorrow, at least in the morning, and then there could be spots of heavy rain. Some of the models, too, try to tear this apart some as we go through tonight. We don't want that because we need the rain that comes with it. All right, so you can see much cooler stuff way toward the north and west, but in our corner of the world, we're looking at upper 80s here, and we did see 90 in a couple of spots just a little while ago. Okay, so now the radar shot, and this is kind of trying to do a little nowcasting. We talk about forecasting, nowcasting when it's actually happening, and then you see thunderstorms going on now. So trying to just sort of figure out if it's here at this time, how long does it take to get to our western counties? I'm thinking probably the next 4 or 5 hours, unless it speeds up a little bit. We'll see how the timing goes. I think somewhere between, I know it's a big window, 8 and midnight, somewhere in there. And you can see a severe thunderstorm warning, remnants of a tornado warning in Montgomery. It does not mean that we're going to see that when it gets here because they are in a different threat category than we are. There's a level 3 from Birmingham, Montgomery, you can see in the orange here, back toward the south and west. It does drop down to a level 2, Atlanta, down to our northwestern counties and back into Alabama. And then later tonight, it drops to a level 1 for us. And that level 1 will be in play overnight into the first half of tomorrow. So again, it's not a zero threat. We're going to watch, see if some gusty winds are out there, things like that. But we need the rain. That's the big thing. So if we have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, if that's all it is, and so be it. Well, we need this to hold together for the rain. We'll get into it coming up in a little bit with the potential storms moving in later tonight. You can track real-time updates with our 24/7 radar. Scan the QR code on your screen now to download 13 WMAZ Plus to your TV. And that way you can keep up to date with things that are going on later on tonight.
Tonight, a train derailment in Monroe County still causing problems for people who live near the tracks. 4 cars derailed after a semi-truck failed to stop at the railroad crossing and hit a train. This is a look of the damage from ground level.
But Frank, the scene from above shows an even really bigger mess. 13 WMAZ drone video shows the scope of the derailment. You can see the train cars off the rails, crews on the ground, and a cleanup that could take some time. You can also see what looks like cargo and even pieces of train far away from the 4 cars that derailed. Tonight, we now know what caused the derailment and how long it could impact roads and rail crossings in the area. Jasmine Lee is live near the scene tonight. Jasmine, what are you seeing now?
Yeah, Frank and Lori, just like you just said, it is still looking pretty busy out here. I think we're seeing about 100 crew members out here still actively working. Now, within the past 2 hours, we did see that train kind of move past us, but you can still see some of that damage. As I said, crews are still working on it, but we are told the driver saw the crossing arms down and the train coming, but couldn't stop in time. That driver is 44-year-old Keno Bennett from Florida. He says he tried to brake and swerve, but that caused the tractor trailer to flip and hit the train. Now, that impact did cause 4 train cars to derail, according to Norfolk Southern. They say the cars were carrying packaged goods, including one with items like lithium batteries. Officials say those items were not damaged, so there is no fire risk at this time. Norfolk Southern also tells us that one rail car landed on a propane tank staged nearby, but they say it has since been safely removed from the site. Now, Frank and Lori, earlier today, we did talk to the Whistle Stop Cafe, workers working there, and they did support crews by giving out lunch.
Everything looked great as usual. The first responders and our community for Monroe County, as well as the railroad, they always take care of everything so quickly. So we're just here to check on everyone and support everyone. But they've done a great job.
Now, Frank Frank and Lori, no injuries were reported, and the sheriff's office is still actively investigating. We're live in Monroe County. Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
Thank you, Jasmine. The truck driver now facing charges including drug possession and driving without a valid license.
That derailment is causing some problems in a town already familiar with railroad crossing concerns. Carmen Brown spoke with some neighbors about the impact of that derailment and how they're responding.
Neighbors here in Juliet tell me trains had actually been getting better about not blocking railroad crossings for long. But Wednesday morning, that changed in a big way. Now, with crews still working to clear this train derailment behind me, people are once again having to deal with detours and taking extra time to get around this.
Look bad, real bad, from what I've seen. I've not seen one that bad down there in a long time.
And for those who live and work near these tracks, the scene brings back a familiar frustration.
It's an inconvenience for sure, and you don't know when it's going to happen.
But Wednesday, that inconvenience came with a much bigger mess. For Josh Weber, who lives nearby, a blocked crossing can mean being late to work or worse, waiting on help that can't get through.
I've sat for 2 hours waiting for the train to move. Just because I was coming another 100 yards this direction, I didn't want to go all the way around.
Down the road at Juliet Bait and Tackle, the morning rush looked a little different, with crews and trucks arriving as cleanup got underway.
Everywhere the roads are jammed with all the Norfolk Southern people trying to get it fixed back on the rail.
And for years, folks in Juliet have told us that Norfolk Southern trains blocked the Juliet crossing, causing detours and public safety concerns. But on Wednesday, locals told us the railroad has been responsive lately. Weber even says Norfolk Southern has tried to work around local events, keeping the crossing clear and traffic moving.
They try, and when I've had to deal with them, I've been very impressed with the way that the Norfolk Southern treated me.
Both men say the derailment is an unexpected headache for the city of Juliet, but they hope crews can clear the roads and get traffic moving soon. Reporting in Juliet, Carmen Brown, 13 WMAZ News.
This is the second derailment in Monroe County in the past year. The other one happened back in December. Tonight, we're taking a closer look at train accidents in Georgia. The Federal Railroad Administration says it investigated around 90 last year, and that's about 2 a week statewide. The most common type of derailments, according to the railroad agency, the most frequent cause of train accidents, human error, followed by track problems and mechanical failures. Last June, we covered a derailment in Byron, Peach County. Nearly 24 cars derailed, the largest accident in the state in the past 4 years. Federal records show that derailment right there caused nearly $4 million in damage.
Tonight, the media world is remembering Ted Turner. The CNN founder and Atlanta broadcasting giant has died.
Turner changed how the world watches news, building CNN into the first 24-hour news network and helping make Atlanta a top media market. He also owned the Braves and spent decades giving back to the community.
As we remember Ted Turner, we're taking a closer look at his life, his legacy, and his deep ties to Georgia. Join us for a special hour-long tribute tonight at 7, streaming exclusively on 13 WMAZ+.
Hours ago in Forsyth, Governor Kemp signing 10 public safety bills into law. One's already being called a lifesaver.
Rio's Law is named after a South Carolina boy with autism whose routine traffic stop turned traumatic.
Hunter King shows us why advocates say this law could help first responders help others with special needs.
It was a big day of bill signings for Governor Kemp today, but one of them hit close to home for Layla Luna.
Rio had a sensory overload meltdown with the sirens and lights flashing. It created the fight or flight. He started to become aggressive. He tried to attack me, and he tried to actually run out of the car, open the door and jump out into the middle of the street.
Her son Rio is autistic and nonverbal, and the flashing lights overwhelmed him during a traffic stop. The officer that stopped her had no way of knowing, so that's where Luna came up with an idea. A special license plate that alerts first responders that someone in the vehicle has autism.
So first responders know that someone in the vehicle is on the spectrum, and if safe, turn off those sirens and lights and approach calmly so that they know how to interact with a child or adult like my son.
The plate is just a part of it. Law enforcement will also get autism training.
Some of them may not even have a voice to defend themselves with, and the fact that I can be that voice, help make the change needed to help benefit them as well as our first responders, really means a lot.
Connor Tomlinson, who has autism, stood with the governor as he signed the bill. He says training matters because situations can escalate fast. 1 in 31 children has autism. About a third of them are nonverbal. Luna says this law will save lives, and Georgia won't be the last state to pass it. Reporting in Monroe County, Hunter King, 13 WMAZ News.
Families returning to what's left after 2 South Georgia wildfires. As shelters close, cleanup begins.
Plus, 12 Houston County firefighters are back home after days on the front line. A first-hand look at the damage they'll never forget.
Cried nonstop. It was a blessing. And I have a home, and I'm back home where I belong.
Tonight, people are starting to return home after 2 massive wildfires ripped through parts of South Georgia.
More than 100 homes burned down and more than 50,000 acres scorched. The fires are now about 85% contained. But for many families, the recovery is just beginning. Some are coming home to homes still standing. Others are finding only ashes.
Local organizers are now shifting from emergency response to cleanup, helping families sort through what's left and find temporary places to stay.
And while some South Georgians are returning home tonight, 12 firefighters are now back in Houston County after battling the blazes on the front lines.
Elizabeth Hunter shares what they saw and why they say they wish they could have done even more.
I got a family at home. I got a wife and 2 kids. I can't imagine what I would do if we lost everything.
A scene that firefighters can't prepare themselves for.
From miles out, there's just a haze of smoke. The fire's still going. You can, the column of smoke is pretty intimidating to see how much destruction it was causing.
Captain Cal Burton has served as a firefighter for a decade, but he says no training prepares you for a natural disaster.
You could see the remains of houses. You drive down some of the roads and it's total destruction. Everything's gone.
Burton says his job focuses on helping people, and he took pride in doing that in Brantley County.
You take that with you, as you want to try to show them as much care as you can because you know they're going through it.
Houston County Fire Chief Chris Stoner also traveled to South Georgia. He calls this one of the worst wildfires he's seen.
Probably only 3 or 4 times in my career have I seen a deployment of this size to a wildfire in the state.
Stoner says when he arrived last Wednesday, about 80 fire vehicles lined Highway 82 battling the fire. By Sunday, crews shared good news.
We were actually working on scaling back a lot of the response that was down there and being able to start cutting some of those resources loose to return home.
Stoner says crews headed back as they contained more of the fire, a good sign and a needed blessing. In Houston County, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
High school athletes are making their college plans official, and a few are sticking together at the next level. The signing celebrations are ahead.
Well, weather impact alert for later tonight. See thunderstorm crossing the state line now, heading toward Atlanta. Some other stuff around Montgomery. So let's try to get the timing down for this. See what we're working with as we go through the overnight. Comes up in a few minutes.
Now, the 13 WMAZ Sports Report with Sammy Costas, sponsored by Farah and Farah.
Senior year is wrapping up soon for high school athletes, and they're making their college plans official before walking across that stage, including several Perry Panthers. 2 football stars are taking their talents to Fort Valley State. John Tavius Carswell put pen to paper joining the Wildcats. He is credited with 57 tackles last season and 5 interceptions. His teammate and childhood best friend, Quentin Crane, also plans to suit up for the Wildcats in the fall. He's credited with 83 total tackles his senior season. Both say playing together at the next level was a big priority for them.
When we both got that offer, we knew we were both going to go. We want to stay together. We've been playing together our whole career, so might as well stay together.
We both sat down, we talked about it. See, we had other offers, but at the end of the day, we know we wanted to be with each other and still play with each other.
Multiple other contributors on the Panther pit are heading to LaGrange. Reed Ginn has signed to play for the Panthers in the fall. The quarterback threw over 2,500 yards in his final year at Perry. Joining him is tight end Castor Ellenbach. He caught 4 of Reed's 12 passing touchdowns last season. The third Panther playing for LaGrange in football is Quintez Alexander. He's credited with 361 points for Perry. Janarvis Reeves is a 2-sport athlete, but has committed to sticking with baseball to start his college career at LaGrange. He earned 5 home runs in his senior season. Juliana Marfell is off to the Truett McConnell soccer pitch. She's a part of the Panther team that's carried on the tradition of region wins. Grant Vickers will play for U.S. Sports University in Alabama, helping earn Perry its first ever back-to-back region championships in boys soccer. Madison Gallagher has signed to play soccer at ABAC after shining for the Panthers. Excited for what's next. And Trent Torres is the first Perry athlete to sign to play overseas. He's off to England to play for I2I Soccer Academy. That's a wrap. Stay with us as Ben shares the forecast next.
The 13 WMAZ Sports Report, sponsored by Farah and Farah.
Weather impact alert in play for tonight, overnight into the early hours of tomorrow. Could see some strong to maybe severe storms. Again, it's not a big severe weather threat, but it's not zero. So we're going to keep an eye on it as we go through tonight. Clouds hanging around right now. 83 is the current number after a day that saw us in the upper 80s today. So again, some storms could be strong tonight. We're looking at mid-60s for tomorrow morning's low. All right, so there's a look at the numbers. You can see still upper 80s as you go farther toward the south and east. And that's all we're going to do on temperature because it's all about radar and models from here on out. Clouds holding hands again out there, and that will be the case regardless of when the rain comes in. We're going to stay cloudy, and this is the look at the rain that we're seeing out there so far. Isolated thunderstorms, one of which is cruising up I-20 toward Atlanta. Another one that just went through Montgomery that has been accompanied by severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings as it's been going east. So when you look at all that, you can see things kind of like running independent cells out there. It doesn't mean that it's going to look exactly that way when it eventually all this moves in. We're going to see if things line up a little bit. We got to figure out, how's this actually going to time out. I did want to show you that there is a tornado watch in Alabama. None of that stuff for us at this point. We'll see later on tonight if the National Weather Service wants to issue a watch, but so far nothing going on. Level 3, so there's a difference in environments too. I mean, there's a level 3 from Birmingham, Montgomery on over, drops down to a level 2 for Atlanta on down, and of course that does include some of our northwestern counties, and then we're in a lower end level 1, but again, it's not 0. So just watching, seeing how things are going over here and seeing if things will eventually line up. There's the threat map without the radar, and you can see overnight into tomorrow morning. Again, it's the lowest on the scale, but again, it's not 0. So Future View has been kind of back and forth on this as far as the timing. This afternoon, I looked at it. There was a big red line coming in 8, 9 o'clock tonight, and now it's kind of backed off on the timing. This is the latest run, showing 8, 9 o'clock, still trying to come across the state line. Maybe 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. We'll see how it goes. Knocking on some of our northwestern counties there as we go into 11 o'clock midnight. Don't get too locked in on where all this is, though, again, because the next run could come out. It could be split apart. It could be stronger looking than that. It could be at a different hour as well. So we're just kind of getting the idea. The past 2 model runs have been showing this, which we don't like this. I mean, for a severe threat, this is good. But for folks needing rain, this whole tearing it apart thing through the overnight is not such a great scenario. So hopefully it will hold together, because we could use every drop we could get out of this. There's 4 in the morning, 5 to 6. Again, it doesn't mean that it's all going to be up here and down there and that we get split around. We'll see how it goes. There's around 9, 10 tomorrow morning. A couple of showers and storms. We go toward 11 o'clock noon. We'll see how that's holding together. And then we're starting to broom it out as we go toward the afternoon hours toward the south and east. So eventually clearing out. Once we get into Friday, this frontal boundary is going to stall to our south. So there could be some showers, maybe a rumble or two as we go into our southern counties Friday afternoon. I think the farther south you are, a better chance of that. There's around this time Friday. And then as we go forward into Friday night, things kind of just running underneath us. Saturday so far, we may see a hit or miss shower. We're going to kind of get the timing and placement of that down a little bit better as we get closer. Of course, we're just trying to figure out tonight's storms first, and then we'll get to that. So Saturday, what did I put down for Saturday? 30% and a bigger chance for Mother's Day on Sunday. But let's rewind the tape. First of all, tonight, at some point later on tonight, showers and thunderstorms, at least we'll see how they're holding together, will come in from the west, and the window for opportunity for rain will be tonight, overnight, into the first half of tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get some rain out of this. We surely need it.
And of course, Ben will continue to follow the weather throughout the evening.
Make sure to watch our weather stream tonight at 9. Catch it on 13WMAZ Plus. Download the Plus app on your TV and watch for free. Back with more right after this.
Thanks for watching. You can always stream with us on 13 WMAZ Plus.
And Ben, of course, at 6:30, you're going to actually have a longer breakdown for the weather that we're expecting a little later on tonight.
Yeah, and then make sure to join us there, but also later on at 9 o'clock tonight on 13 WMAZ Plus.